Hello, I'm Andrew Milligan, Head of Global Strategy here at Standard Life Investments. I'd like to introduce you to the April edition of Global Outlook, our magazine bringing together the thoughts and insights from a number of the fund managers here. The major theme for this month's edition is politics and markets. Let's start with the economic overview. Jeremy Lawson, our chief economist, is actually quite upbeat on an economic cycle which is broadening, developing, expanding, not just this year, but increasingly into next, we think. However, he examines some of the political uncertainty or political decisions, say the elections in Europe, or of course Mr. Trump's actions on tax and trade. How could these affect, either accelerate or cause the economic cycle to roll over? Then we move to the global spotlight. Alex Wolff, our emerging market economist, is examining the complex relationship between two important countries, China and the United States. Some difficult negotiations here. Will we see a win-win or a lose-lose situation? A variety of pressure points, of course, say the South China Sea, for example, but trade is really going to be the focus for financial markets. Alex examines all this in the spotlight. Then we move on to examining the impact of politics on currency markets. Ken Dixon in our Treasury team is using our valuation models to analyse how the Canadian and Mexican currencies could perform versus the US dollar. The North American Free Trade Association, NAFTA, those rules look to be changing, and we need to put together some scenarios to think what the implications could be for several currencies. Then I mentioned earlier the upturn in the global economy, not just feeding through in the US and China, but especially into Europe. Some of the business surveys there are doing very well indeed. Now, this places the European Central Bank in a dilemma. On the one hand, the hawks getting quite worried about emergency support, should this be taken away. Then the doves worrying about the fact that inflation is just not appearing, and what would the impact of higher interest rates be. Jack Kelly, in our Treasury team, our fixed income team, examines how some of the peripheral debt in countries like Italy and Spain could be examined and what this should be in our portfolios. And lastly, politics can affect markets, but economic influences can also affect politics. So in our final article on oil, we examine the importance of changes in US shale technology. What's this doing to the global demand-supply balance, and which companies can actually benefit from these technological changes? So, politics and markets, the theme for the April edition of Global Outlook. Thank you very much indeed.